So welcome to lesson 7.3. And this is, we're continuing factoring. So I want to refresh your memory. So when you have something that looks like this, right? X squared plus 7x plus 6. We're looking for two numbers that add to be 7 and that multiply to be 6. So you put an x and an x here. Two numbers that multiply to be 6 are 2 and 3, but 2 plus 3 is not 7. So the other factors of 6 are 1 and 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. So your two factors are going to be 6 and 1. Since the signs are both positive, you're going to have positive and positive. And this is the factor, or these are the factors of x squared plus 7x plus 6. Okay, so if you took this and you FOIL it, you would get x squared plus 7x plus 6 back. All right, so now what do you do if you have a situation like this where your first number, right, the one in front of the x squared is not a 1, where in this case it happens to be a 2, or it could be a 3 or a 4, so on and so forth. So what do? So I'm going to call this method the AC method. I'm just going to draw a line right there just to get us started. I'm just going to go ahead and type that in. So this is called the AC method. Okay. So AC method, what that means is, let me just go back to the pen for a second. All right. So you're going to take your A, which is 2, and your C, which is 5, and you're going to multiply them. So first step is you're going to do A times C. In this case, it's 2 times 5. And 2 times 5 is equal to 10. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us 10. Then what you do is you're looking for two numbers that add to be 11. So they have to add to be 11. And that should be fairly simple given the example that we just did, right? Two numbers that multiply to be 10, 10 and 1, and two numbers that add to be 11, 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. So now that we found our numbers, the second thing that we're going to do, so we have our numbers is 10 and 1. This is called the AC method. So what's going to happen is you're going to take your C and you're going to bring it down. And you're going to take your A and you're going to bring it down, which is the 2x squared. And then you're going to take the middle terms, which in this case is 11. So you're going to break it down into 10 and 1. They're both positives. So positive 10x plus 1x. So now what we have is we have four terms. If you were to add 10 plus 1, you get 11x, and then you're going to get back to this. So we don't want to do that, okay? What we want to do is we are going to split these two in half like this, okay? So second term is we're going to rewrite what we call the B term. The B term is this right here. That's our B term. So you're going to rewrite the B term. And then after that, you're going to factor. So 3, you're going to factor the left side and the right side. So what do I mean by that, right? So look over here. This is the left, that's the right. So what we're doing is we are looking for the greatest common factor between 2 and 10. 2 goes into both of them. Here there are two x's, and here there's only 1. So what's common? There's 1x in common. This is from the lesson that we did before. And so now we're looking for what fills this parentheses. So 2x times x gives us 2x squared, and 2x times 5 gives us 10x. So we're going to distribute so we can get this right here back, and we do. And you're going to do the same thing to the right-hand side. I'll do this in, let's just do it in red. Okay. So between 1 and 5, there's a GCF of 1, greatest common factor. X is only here, it's not there, so we're not going to factor that out. And what you're left with is x plus 5, because if I distribute 1 times x is 1x, 1 times 5 is 5, there's a plus sign in the middle. Okay. So now what will happen always, like all the time, is if AC method works, is what's inside the parentheses has to be the same. So you're going to take that and you're going to write it once. And then what you're going to do is everything that you have left, right? So we took out the x plus 5, we dealt with that. We have a 2x left, so you're going to put that in the second parentheses. Don't close it yet. And over here, the x plus 5, after you take that out, you're just left with the 1, so plus 1. So this right here is your answer in factored form. Okay, so we're going to go ahead um, and try another one. All right, so pause the video, make sure you go back and take notes. All right, so we're going to start off the same way. I notice that this in front of the x squared is not a 1, so I'm going to use AC method. And again, we're going to start with our x. First thing that we're going to do is take our a and our c, multiply it. So 6 times 4 is 24. Looking for two numbers that multiply to be 24 and that add to be, in this case, negative 11. So they add to be negative 11. So factors of 24, 6 and 4. 6 plus 4 is 10, not 11, so that doesn't work. 8 and 3, boom. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite this as 8 and 3. They have to multiply to give you a positive number. So 8 times 3 does give you positive, but they don't add to give you a negative 11. So I know that both my signs have to be negative, because a negative 8 plus a negative 3 is equal to negative 11. And a negative 8 times a negative 3 is equal to positive 24. So remember in the previous thing, so this is called AC method. So you're going to bring down the A, you're going to bring down the C. You're going to rewrite the B term as negative 8, negative 3. So negative 8x, negative 3x. We could have switched it. In this case, if we switch it, it might be a little bit easier. So if you put the negative 3x here and the negative 8x here, you'll see why I did that. It doesn't matter, actually. The answers are going to be the same. But here, 6 and 3 have a common factor of 3. 4 and 8 have a common factor of 4. If I switched it and this was the 8, then I would have to use 2. But again, like I said, you still get the same answer. So anytime you have 4 terms, you're going to cut it in half. And then you're going to factor out the left. So put a factor symbol, put a factor symbol. What's inside the parentheses, again, will be exactly the same thing. I see that between 6 and 3, like I just said, 3 goes into both. This has 2 x's here, and this has 1x. So what's common is 1x. What do I multiply by 3x to get 6x squared? I multiply 2x minus 3x times 1 is equal to 3x. So I distribute to check. 3x times 2x, 6x squared. Boom. 3x times 1, negative 3x. So I know that I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit. I know that in this parentheses, I'm going to have a 2x minus 1 because remember, the parentheses have to match. So what number has to go out in front? So something times 2x gives you negative 8x. That's going to have to be negative 4. So now let's check it. Is negative 4 times negative 1 positive 4? Boom, it works. Perfect. So now, since this is the same, the 2x, I'm going to write it once, right? And in the new parentheses, the 2x minus 1 is already dealt with, so I'm left with a 3x. In this one, I dealt with the 2x minus 1, so I'm left with a negative 4, and I'm done. That's my whole answer right there. Boom, shakalaka. Okay, one more, just to make sure that we're really good. So again, this is AC method, so A times C. In this case, my A is 2, my C is negative 15. It might help to write A equals 2, B equals 7, and C equals negative 15. I know students that have done that always get this right. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply. I get my pen back. All right. So you're going to take the 2 times negative 15. You're going to multiply them, and you're going to get negative 30. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be negative 30 and that add to be 7. So it adds to be 7. 6 times 5 is 30. But that doesn't give me 7 when I add them or subtract them. Let's see. 10 and 3. There we go. 10 and 3, right? 10 times 3 is 30. 10 minus 3 is 7. So I know that my numbers are going to be 10 and 3. So I'm going to write that down. 10 and 3. Now all I got to do is I got to worry about my signs. So positive times a positive is a positive. That's not what I have here. So I know that one of them has to be a negative. So if this is negative, negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. That's not what I have. So I know that the negative sign has to go with the 3 because 10 minus 3 is 7. So I'm going to go back over here, right? So my a term just comes down, so I have 2x squared. My c term just comes down, so I have negative 15. My b term, I'm going to break it down. That's 7x. I'm going to break it down into 10x and negative 3x. So I'm going to do 10x and negative 3x. And now, whenever I have 4 terms, right, you split it, write down what you have on the left, what you have on the right. Okay, so I'm going to factor. So between 2x squared and 10x, greatest common factor is a 2. Between x squared and x, there's an x that can come out. I think we've done this enough to kind of for it to be second nature, so I could check it. 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 5 is 10x. Over here, I know x plus 5 has to be here, so there has to be a negative 3 out in front, and I can check it. Final step, write down what you have left, x plus 5 and 2x minus 3, right? Because x plus 5 is dealt with, 2x minus 3 is what's left. Done. Okay, good job. Good job.